Jacob Stevens, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Hey, thank you so much for checking out Havasu for us and welcome back. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, it's nice to be back.
Great. Hey, first race this year that you've got to be the report guy for me. And Havasu, the iconic Havasu. It's always hell on wheels and rough, and the finishes are great. Um, I haven't got to see the results for what the turnout was like. What do you think it was like?
I mean, it was packed. I mean, there was a huge turnout. I'm not sure specifically for the quads. I'm assuming it was better than normal just because it's Havasu, and I feel like that's, one of the Works' most popular events. But I mean, we were parking, there was campers up and down the outside the gates, up and down the road. So, between the dirt bikes and the ATVs, it was packed.
That's awesome. It's good to hear that they had a great turnout there. And yeah, I mean, there's people that will just race that race
Mm-hmm.
just because it's Havasu, it's on the island, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe in Havasu or they live close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that
I
was
mean,
all.
it's a good event. I mean, even just spectator wise, it's definitely their best event and best track that we go to. So, yeah, it's a good time always at Havasu.
Was it hot?
It wasn't too bad. I during the pro and pro am races, it was pretty warm, but Saturday was actually kind of chilly. So, um, it wasn't too hot. I wouldn't say it was, the hottest it could have been, or hot as it's been in the previous years. But I mean, there was some heat for sure.
That's good. That's really good. I saw Kory Ellis went out and won the OPAN A class.
Yeah. Yep. He did.
That's pretty awesome. Normally, he doesn't ride the roughest tracks like that, but going out to Havasu and riding that, dude, the guy still got it.
He still got it. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see him go out and still perform and do well even on the rough tracks.
And Johnny Shafe, the guy that got second, is a
Hmm.
former Works pro as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Johnny's in his 50s now. If he's
Wow.
not, he's in his late 40s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that those guys are putting down the laps and doing it and getting it done. It's great to see. I saw that Torey freaking went out there and killed it again.
Yeah,
Another
man.
one.
Yeah, I mean, she got out front and she just clicked her laps off and she just has the speed, I think, over the rest of the class. Layne Fryar was in second, and she had a really good ride and she was riding really well. Um, she just was, maybe a few seconds a lap off her pace, and towards the end of the race, it was just kind of, Torey just continued to click away laps and pull a little bit away each lap.
Yes, and Donna got third, and
Hmm.
she's back on the box and doing well. That's just so great to see everybody. Well, it's the usuals, but it's just great to see everybody having a good race
Yeah,
and doing their thing. Um, your pro am clash, we had a new guy on the podium in DeSilva, you
yeah,
know, stepping up. His cousin is you used to race Chauffel,
yep,
and he's retired now, but uh, De Silva got into it because of his cousin, and now he's on the podium in the pro am class, working his way up. So that's great to see as well. He got second in Open A,
yeah,
or not Open A, but
or
Production A.
production, yep. Yeah, and Braden or he was there this weekend, hanging out and helping him out and stuff like that, which was cool. And it's cool to see some new faces on the podium. And the prom class was I mean, it wasn't as big as it's always been, but it was a good turnout for sure.
That's yeah, but still the fact that they're out there fighting for it and doing it, it's the usuals that were there.
Yeah.
You love to see.
Hmm.
I'd like to see more of the East Coast guys come out and race Havas too.
Yeah, everybody asked me, I talked to Bryce Ford about it, and he said that he wanted to come out and do one eventually. And, um, I told him that if he wanted the full-on experience, that Havasu was the one to go to. I think the hardest part for them is it's during their race season, so it's a little difficult for them to get out here during their season, but you know, I'd love to see some of them come out and race Havasu.
Yeah, so would I, because I believe that, they're fast enough to win the race.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if they're durable enough to win the race.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That that track beats you up like no other track. I mean, it's tight, it's turny, it's deep, it's rough. It has every factor that you could ever think about in a sand track, and um, you know, it's a long 90 minutes there.
Yeah, I think I've been there when they did it 2 hours
Yeah. Oh, I could only imagine.
in the heat.
Yeah.
It was miserable. It was
Yeah.
miserable.
I believe it.
We used to take Eichner afterwards, and you'd have to put him in a cooler almost just to cool his body down. And I know the same with Fredericks and some of the other guys that raced it. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
cool immediately afterwards because they're just boiling themselves. And I don't know if we've had a Havasu race in your era that was over 100 degrees, have we?
No, no, I don't think so. Even when I was racing Havasu, it wasn't, you know, it was hot, but it was maybe, you know, high 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a couple of those that were over 100 and it was just cooking.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I raced a couple times back east in over 100-degree weather, and even just motocross for, you know, 20 minutes a race is brutal in that type of weather. So I could only imagine for 2 hours out there on that track.
Could you imagine being like the old days where they ran dual motos in a day in the motorcycles and they ran dual classes?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember the motorcycles where they ran 250 pro and 500? They were 125, 250, and 500 pro.
I don't remember that. No.
The guys rode the 250 class and the 500 class.
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
they back when LaRocco was on Kawasaki, they showed him get off the bike, and they had a bucket, like one of those 55-gallon barrels full of
Hmm.
water, and he would jump inside the barrel and get his body temperature down and get himself hydrated before he had to go back out and race again.
That's crazy. I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, getting yourself hydrated and getting your head cool. If you can cool your head down and get yourself hydrated, your rest of your body will equalize and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy to
Yeah. That's
the only I that's where I got that from, is watching those guys in the old days. Once they cooled their head down and got them hydrated, they were ready to go for the second motos.
that's crazy. I couldn't imagine.
Well, now it's 20 minutes plus 2 laps.
Yeah. Well,
The
the
old,
dirt bikes is 30 plus 2, quads is 20 plus 2.
it used to be 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's even crazier.
Two
That's even
45-minute
crazier.
motos in a day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, I want to go back to the old days.
Yeah. Yeah. They make the boys men, you know?
Men were men, and the boys stayed home.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could even, you know, say like the outdoor dirt bike stuff now, like when they go to the Fox Raceway race in, you know, the end of May or beginning of
It's pretty
June, I
warm.
think. It's pretty warm there in California on the desert, and they do 230 plus twos out there. So, you know, I'm sure it's still hard on those boys out there in that heat as well.
Yeah, because we went to Paula, which was
Hmm.
Fox,
Yep.
one year. It was freaking miserable sitting in the stands. And
Yeah, and
I,
my dad was talking to me about going because one of our friends is getting the race pro out there. Um, he races dirt bikes out here. I think he's done a couple works events, but um, he's racing 450 pro, I think. And he wants us to come watch, and my dad's all up in the air about it. And I'm like, Dad, it's gonna be hot. It's
you
gonna be
got to
real hot out there.
you got to get a motorhome spot close to the track so that you can have some place to get out of the heat or whatever. Because
Yeah.
if you're sitting in the
Well,
stands,
they
it's
got
just
that hotel right there on the track now too, don't they?
it's not on the track to my knowledge.
Oh, I thought it was right there at the gate. They put a hotel and a pool and everything in there.
I wish we wish.
We wish. My mom said she's not going. She said, I'm staying. I'm gonna go shop in town. I'm not going.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the air conditioning because it's gonna be hot
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Phoenix as well.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No.
So on the pro class, and now we're getting back on track with Havasu. The pro class, Damon got the whole shot with Huff in tow.
Yep. No, Huff was third. Braxton was Braxton came out second. Or no, maybe Huff did come out second.
It was Huff and then
Yeah,
Brad.
it was Huff and then Braxton and then Beau. Or no,
Okay.
it wasn't even Beau. Beau came out second to last. It was Baxter came out, I think, fourth, and then it was Layne Fryar and then Cole Fryar, or and then Beau and then Cole Fryar came out last. But yeah, it didn't take Braxton long to get into P2, and it didn't take Beau long to get into P3.
Did Bo just hang there in three?
Yeah. I talked to him prior to the race, and we talked about it in our pre-race report about his, kryptonite being Havasu and the bad luck, and the points gap is so tight this year with him and Travis, and um, he just went out to maintain. I think the way he was talking was he just wanted to get into his comfortable pace, not have any catastrophic failures happen, no crashes, no bike problems. He just wanted to get into a comfortable pace and finish out the race, whether that be in, first, second, third, fourth, or, wherever he finished. So he went out and did exactly that.
Smart age, knowing that Havasu always has a gotcha for him.
Yeah, and he knows it's brutal, and he knows it's tiring, and he knows it's long. So, he's playing the long game, and he knows more than anybody that championships don't win themselves at the fourth round of the season.
Right, right. And so Braxton, I got to talk to Braxton, and he said that Travis was putting down some good laps, and he just got tired of getting hit with the rocks, and thought that he could make a pass and get himself out in front, and he did.
Yeah, I mean Braxton, I mean he rode hard. I think he in the beginning, when he got into second, Travis had a pretty good lead on him. Maybe, maybe 10 seconds in the beginning of the race, and Braxton kind of like settled in a little bit, got comfortable, and then he like right around lap 3 or 4, he put a charge on, and he caught him in a few laps and made the pass and just kind of walked away. I mean, it was an impressive ride from Braxton, and I know I got to talk to Travis a little bit after the race, and he said he just kind of got tight, and with how rough that track is, you're out front, you're pushing it a little hard, and you tighten up a little quick, and you don't realize it. You're not breathing properly, and got a little gassed halfway there, and Braxton got him, and Braxton put a lead on him, and he just couldn't get it back.
I think that Travis isn't used to leading,
Yeah.
and it's going to take a little bit for him to relax into that role and get comfortable with leading races, because the guy's a beast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He had to have been holding his breath,
Holding
or
his breath for sure. I mean, and it's a whole learning curve from going to chasing the leader to being the leader, setting that pace, and you don't have anybody to chase, you don't have any lines to check up on, you're riding your lines, your race, there's nothing in front of you. So it's definitely a learning curve leading races, and he's hopefully he learns something this weekend from it, and takes that into the future. But I mean, man, Braxton's 2 for 2 in the pro class at Havasu, and I mean, he was on rails, and the kid, he looked unstoppable.
yeah, he said something that he didn't. It's for him. He won through his amateur career at Havasu as well. So it's been a very fruitful place for wins for Braxton Grosse at Havasu.
Yeah, and I mean, he even talks about it. He said it's his least favorite track, and he always does so well there. So maybe after winning 2 years in a row in pro class, his opinion of the race will change a little bit. But I mean, man, he looked unstoppable, and if he continues out riding like that at Havasu, he's gonna be one tough one to beat there.
Well, he went and won the XC2 class in
Yeah, in
Florida,
Florida. Yeah.
and came back and he was running third in Georgia in the sloppy, mucky mud and got stuck in a mud hole right at the finish and dropped to seventh.
Yeah.
So, racing 7 weekends in a row, that's got to do something for your conditioning and your strength.
Oh yeah, for sure. He was definitely on point. He didn't look like he faded a beat. He was on point every single lap. As much as I could see him in every corner, he was hitting his marks. And I'm sure the Georgia and the Florida GNCCs and racing like that out there. I know Florida is absolutely brutal back east. So, it was just really good training for him. And, he was definitely, 100% prepared for Havasu, and he came out and he showed that he was.
That's great. You know what? I did expect a little bit more from Travis, a little bit more of a fight.
I did, yeah. Like I said, I just think that, he's not used to leading like we talked about, and he was holding his breath, and I think he just got a little tight and tired early on. And in those races, especially at Havasu, with how long it feels, as soon as you lose your breath and you lose your energy, it's like near impossible to regain back. So, um, probably kind of shot himself in the foot a little bit. And I mean, he fought hard, but Braxton, like I said, I mean, it was a very impressive ride.
Do you think that on the start, the Yamahas had the edge over the Hondas this weekend?
Yeah, yes, and I wouldn't say so much. Braxton has electric start on his, so I wouldn't say so for that. And Beau's pretty solid on starts, so I don't know. I mean, those dead starts are always up in the air. It's all about whose bike's gonna fire first, and get to that corner first. So, I genuinely don't think that the whole shot was super, super important here at Havasu, just because of how brutal the track is and how fast everybody else was riding. So, the fast guys were gonna make their way through the pack, and they kind of finished exactly where their speed
Well,
was at.
since Bose went to that um, hybrid, his starts haven't been as good, you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was so used to doing dead start Kickstarters, so
But
switching to
that's a
electric start
kickstart.
is
That's not electric start. That's a
is it a
kickstart.
kickstart?
I think it's a kickstart.
I can't recall if he was kicking it or whatnot, but yeah,
I think
I don't know.
an R motor, which the R motors are kick, aren't they?
I think so, yeah. I think
You know,
so. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, it's maybe either these guys are getting better or, something's going on with him, so I'm not too sure on that one, but um those dead starts are tough. I had a couple good ones when I was racing, last season or the season before last. I had a couple good dead starts where I came out, I pulled a whole shot or, came out in top three, but there was a couple times where I came out dead last. So it was just one of those things on, it's tough. You don't know if your bike's gonna, start right up or if it's gonna, need an extra turnover or two to get going.
right. Did you get to race the Blythe race?
I did not get to race Blythe.
Everything that I've heard about that place is it's just rough.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's real silty out in the desert. The motocross track is stellar. It looks really cool. I got to go out and spectate last year there, and the motocross track looks pretty cool. The desert looks rough. It's real silty and dusty. Kind of reminds me of Taft. Maybe a little bit rougher than Taft out in the desert, but very similar dirt.
I always liked Taft. I didn't have very good luck there, but I liked that
I
place.
did like Taft. Taft was one of my favorites. I'll stand on Prim is my favorite place to race at.
Ah, dude.
I loved Prim. I loved it. I don't know what it was about that track, but I loved it out there.
I'm not an unfan, but it just, you know, it was kind of like racing at Glen Helen. Glen Helen is supposedly the local track for me. And I freaking
I
just,
hated it. I didn't like Glen Helen.
yeah, I just freaking never
It
could get
was
it.
like I don't know. My thing with Glen Helen was it was like two motocross tracks and a couple really long wide open straightaways. There wasn't a ton of just out in the desert racing when I was out there in Glen Helen.
For me, it was Havasu and Mesquite were probably my best places to race, even though they weren't the
Yeah,
best places
Mesquite.
to race.
Man, Mesquite is I would personally say it's worse than Havasu, in my opinion. I would rather go to Havasu than Mesquite.
Well, we went there one year, and it was after some rains, and the washes out in the desert turned into like Volkswagen size whoop-de-doos.
Oh
And you,
wow.
yeah, it was the year I was racing the KFX 700, and it was just so I don't know how, if you couldn't get on top of them, they were too big.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Oh,
crazy.
it
Yeah,
was
we didn't
just
get to do a lot of desert stuff out of Glen Helen, which was tough, you know. Which I mean, you'd think I would have done better there because it was a lot of motocross, but man, it was tough. I don't know what it was about that track that was just so. It just it's not. I guess it's just not super fun to race for 90 minutes. So um,
well, one of the years we raced there, they kept us, the whole course was in the infield where the motocross track is and
mhm.
where the rim track is.
Yeah,
That's where the whole race was in there. They didn't take us out into the hills or anything.
yeah, no, that's the same
Yes,
with us.
back and
Yeah.
forth, and
Same with us.
turn,
Do the
jump.
parking lot. We would do the main track and then we would kind of do a little bit of the like we had a little desert section and switch right over into the vet track. And then we'd hop off the vet track, go all the way down to the side by side track, the trophy truck track. We do the trophy truck track and it was S turns back to the main track.
They didn't have that years ago.
The trophy truck track.
No, you would just come. They would bring you back in without all that extra straightaway and all that stuff where you'd go down to the truck track.
Mm-hmm.
No, they would bring you back in and they would S it all back inside of there. And
Dang.
where you see all the roads that they have for the work crews and stuff, that
Yeah.
was part of the track.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was just all S's, and oh man, it was
Yeah.
rough.
I mean, Works, I mean, they do what they can there, you know, nowadays. There's a couple we got to ride, you know, when we came back from the trophy truck track, they have a, you know, real deep rough wash section over there and then halfway through the pits there's a sandy section right in the middle of the pits that they run us through and you know, they do what they can. I'm assuming that, you know, it's up to Glen Helen and on where they're allowed to set up their track. So just kind of limited, I guess.
Yeah, my son had a real good race there one year with a big six deal. That was a it was a awesome long course where they took it out in the desert and everything. He had fallen off early in the day at 395 at a works race,
Hmm.
and the big six race was later that afternoon. And we didn't think he was going to ride, and he freaking threw his leg over and rode. And it was no
Nice.
big deal. Yeah, I was impressed. He hobbled, but
Yeah.
it's always fun. It's always a lot of fun. Blythe is going to be kind of a dog shoot, a battle, because Braxton's going to be coming off all this time on the seat. Beau's got a 1 point lead over Travis. Hopefully Travis is going to put the hammer down and fight a little harder for that win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I think Blythe will be a good one between the three of them. I think it's going to be, you know, last year it was a three-way battle the whole race, so I'm hoping to see the same thing this year.